Welcome to Storytime at the Rubus, a weekly podcast where we discuss Bonnaroo Music and Arts Festival. I'm Brooklyn.
I'm Daniel.
And I'm Sharla.
Oh my gosh. So guys, we had our great Live from Bonnaroo episode last week. It's always a blast to put that together, but this is the first real one that we've had since. This is going to be kind of our recap episode, so strap in. It may be a bit of a long one. We are out here on the back porch at mine and Sharla's house this evening. We thought about doing this from inside the Rubus, but it's a little steamy in there. That thing becomes a bit of an easy bake oven. Brooklyn. Yeah, I know, right? We only had you on for like a hot minute for the live episode last week.
I have no memory.
I have a little bit of memory. I'll tell you about that later. But yeah, how was this Bonnaroo for you?
Oh, definitely one of the best Bonnaroos I've ever had.
Oh, yeah. One of the best? What about you, Sharla?
Oh, I would absolutely agree with what Brooklyn said. One of the top Bonnaroos of all time for me since 2013.
Oh, yeah. We've been going for more than a decade now, and I would easily put this in my top three. And there's a lot of reasons for that we're going to, kind of explain and run through on this episode and everything.
So we should kind of really reintroduce ourselves, I think.
Yeah, I have heard from a lot of people recently that have only just started listening, even though we've been doing this for around 5 years now.
Right. We really started the podcast back in 2019.
I think so. That sounds right. I didn't look it up, but I believe that.
Yeah, so Daniel and I, just to give you some background information, we are marketing and communications professionals. I have 17, 18 years experience in digital marketing, journalism, and communications, and that's what I do professionally. So in my fun free time, I do this podcast, and I do Bonnaroo. I think about Bonnaroo probably year-round.
Yeah, like Charlotte said, we picked up the bus a few years before we started the podcast, and we wanted to keep that tradition going. And doing this podcast where we get to hang out with Brooklyn and a bunch of our other friends from Bonnaroo seemed like a logical way of extending that. And we don't even try to be too professional with this. We want it to be like as if it's just a conversation that you're having at the campground before you go into
Right. We started the
Bonnaroo.
podcast, like I said, in 2019, and we always wanted it to be about stories of Bonnaroo, essentially the community aspect of Bonnaroo. What happens outside of the artist experience at Bonnaroo?
Yeah.
The music of Bonnaroo is fantastic. It's great. It's wonderful. But we want to talk about the community of Bonnaroo. We want to share your stories of Bonnaroo. We want to get everyone excited for the things that are happening outside of that. If you want to hear from the artist at Bonnaroo, if you want that inside baseball experience, go listen to the What podcast. They are the absolute industry professional on that.
Yeah.
If you're here for the community experience of Bonnaroo, listen to us.
Well, I would also recommend the Ruham Boys.
Oh, the Ruham, yes, they're
very
fabulous.
good.
Yes.
I lovingly say this. I'm saying this to troll them because I love them. It's almost listening to like some old school FM in the morning radio thing, and I love them for it. Like they take a different approach than we do, and they do it fantastically.
Yes.
And I also want to point out the Bonnaroo podcast. He does it a little infrequently, but he's very good. I often brag on him because he holds
does
it
so good for one person.
He holds it down by himself. I could never do that. And we're totally friends with all of them. In fact, Brooklyn, you're going camping with Taco this coming week, right?
Yeah, on 4th of July.
Yeah. Brooklyn, would you like to tell a quick, short story? So for 2 years, there was no Bonnaroo because there was various plagues like pandemics and hurricanes. So we had our own Bonnaroo, right? Do you want to kind of tell about that?
Well, obviously we were all super devastated in 2020 when we found out that they canceled Bonnaroo. So our good buddy Lindsay, he has his own property in a non-disclosed area. I will not give that information out.
No, just hit us in the DMs.
He invited us and a bunch of other of our fellow Bonnaroo friends, of his Bonnaroo friends, and then some of their Bonnaroo friends, and we had our own little mini Bonnaroo in 2020. We practiced,
Safe sex.
We practiced safe sex. We practiced
Oh my God.
Skinny dipping, safe skinny dipping in the creek. No, I'm totally kidding. No, we did like the whole social distancing thing, but then you can only do that so much because you want to give hugs. So obviously we gave hugs.
The Christian side hug.
Yeah.
Yeah, the you gotta leave room for Jesus.
It was tough in 2020, but like
the very first one we did was like super small. Well, he even like got a band to play.
We got a lot of bands.
Yeah, a lot of bands. They all run together now. But the biggest one was in 2021 in September. When September was supposed to happen, and people from like New York and Canada and like Washington State, they have already like started their journey for Bonnaroo, and they find out, oh my God, it's canceled. We're already down here. What do we do? So we had Lindsay's entire property.
It was 120
full
people, maybe.
Of like tents, campers. We had the monkey bar out there. We had porta potties. We had a stage. We had people come out and sing. We had parties. Like Sarah was out there doing henna tattoos. Ryan did a nice little video of it on YouTube you can find called Journey with Ryan. And it's like a Bonnaroo 2021 experience kind of video. It was really good. It made me cry.
Yeah.
But like just the amount of love that all of these people have forced that into existence. Like we all love this one thing so much, this one event, and we all come together, and it didn't happen, so we made it happen.
Exactly.
And it was beautiful.
And I kind of teed you up for that because I feel like that's one of the perfect examples of the kind of stories that we've talked about on this show for, 5 years now, 5+ years. That 2021 thing that you were talking about is so special to me because we basically more or less had a hippie commune for 4 nights. And it was just everybody that kind of sort of knew each other, and we made kind of like a little community for the better part of 4 days, even though there was no Bonnaroo to go to big shows in.
About 40% of the Bonnaroo people who I am really close to now, I met on Lindsay's farm.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Canadians, I met them there.
Yeah, and you camped with them half the time this past year. Yeah.
Yep.
So now Brooklyn has an origin story as well, and I'm going to tell it
here we
because
go.
I told it in the Discord today, and
Go ahead.
everybody loved it and just ate it up.
Well, tell us.
So it's real quick. So back in 2017-ish, I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
I think so.
We knew Brooklyn like a little bit. Like we had met her in February.
December.
December? Okay.
Yeah.
We knew her like a little tiny bit.
The first thing I said to you when I first met you.
December of 2016.
Yeah,
the
I walked
very
in.
first thing you said.
Like, hey, you want to go to Bonnaroo?
And I was like, I've always wanted to
Serious?
go.
Yeah.
That was the
didn't know
very
that.
first thing he said to me.
I did not know that.
For some reason, you were sitting fully clothed in the bathtub, and I walked in, and I was like, hey, how's it going? You want to go to Bonnaroo in June? Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah. You didn't know
Well,
that?
no. Okay, well.
There you
Okay.
go. Yeah.
Okay, I guess I didn't know that.
Well, tell the rest of the
Anyway,
story.
the rest of the story is
Paul Harvey.
so we had been friends with this guy like for about 5-6 years, and Daniel managed his band. And long story short, he brought his girlfriend of a few months to Bonnaroo, of 6 months or so to Bonnaroo. And it was both their first years at Bonnaroo. They're both their first times at Bonnaroo. She hated Bonnaroo. She loved Bonnaroo. A week later, we got her in the divorce.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And we never saw him again, and now
Not
here
really.
she is on our back porch.
Yeah,
so-
like what? How many years later? It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
how many years
8.
later? Yeah.
Yeah.
And the next year, no, I guess I don't know what year. The years run together
I
so
know.
much.
So that was my very first year. That's the year that we parked next to the bus. I gave them
Yeah,
that
okay,
cheesecake that I
okay.
made, and then we became good friends with them.
Do you think if you hadn't made that cheesecake, that bus
No.
wouldn't be sitting like 30 feet over
No.
there?
Who knows?
No.
Yeah.
So that was the year Brooklyn became friends with Tammy, the original owner of the bus. And then Tammy put the bus on eBay. I became friends with Tammy on Facebook. She put the bus on eBay, and then I placed a bid, and we won the bus.
Now here it is.
So that's the whole origin story.
Yeah, you went from that to like Jason from Cherub coming to hang with us for 2 hours inside the bus about 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
It's funny how these things work. But yeah, I'm glad that we could share that a bit to kind of introduce ourselves to any new listeners. Those are some of our stories. One reason that we started this podcast is we want to share those stories. When we first started the podcast, if you go back in the archives, we kind of specifically do episodes for that, but now they just kind of naturally come up. That's just part of the way that we do this show these days. So again, like Sharla said, if you want to listen to more like industry kind of stuff, go listen to the What podcast. If you want to listen to it as if you're hanging at the campsite with a couple of beers, go listen to the Ruham Boys. If you want to hang with a guy that's very smart about his indie music,
Yeah.
go listen to Bonnaroo. We got a whole community. Bonnaroo has up to 100,000 people going to it. So there is room for everybody, and we support all of our other podcasts as well.
Well, Daniel,
Yes.
would you like to start talking about Bonnaroo this year?
Yeah, I think we should. We got a lot to go through. So I want to start by really bragging on the Bonnaroo crew behind the scenes that did a lot right this year. We had kind of like a Twitter thread going about this past week, and I want you guys to jump in on this. Please add to this. This is just stuff that I thought went great. There was a lot that went great this year. There was a very good vibe around the camps and in Bonnaroo, and I think that is bolstered by the fact that they did so well behind the scenes to kind of like make that vibe happen. So, in no particular order, actually, this one comes first for a reason. I want to talk about how well they did with entry and load in. I talked to as many people as I could trying to learn about their experiences. I have not heard of the first person that took more than an hour to come off of Bushy Branch Road and get to their campsite. That is a damn logistical miracle. And for those of you that haven't been going to Roo for a long time, it used to be a problem.
Oh, yeah.
People would be stuck for like 5, 6, 7.
Oh, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours. Hillsboro.
Yeah. And please don't be scared about that because that doesn't happen anymore.
No, it does not happen. No.
Whatever they're doing has completely fixed the issue. People come in very quickly, and that starts the positive vibes right there when you have a frustration-free entry into the festival.
So there was one day, I can't remember what day that Corey came out and told us, but there was one day that no one waited longer than 20 minutes in line.
That's amazing. Yeah, that was when his band played, so that would have been Wednesday night. So that's 2 days worth of people coming in, and nobody waited that long. That's amazing. I don't even know how you do that.
That compared to like the Hillsboro exit of 2019.
Oh my God, that was a nightmare. This was actually the first year I did not ride in with you guys.
Yeah, so you did the whole line.
I rode in with the Canadians in their RV. And, I'm spoiled. I always go in with you guys.
Yeah.
Even the first year, that I went in 2017, I remember we were backed up on the interstate. Mm-hmm. This, we just...
You just rolled right in?
Rolled right in.
Now, what day and what time did you come in, just so everybody knows?
Tuesday at, right at 12.
You would think that would be a prime time when a lot of people are coming in.
Yeah.
Because they want a close
now,
spot.
And to be fully transparent, the bus, we do not park in media or anything like that, but the bus does get an escort to be driven around.
Yeah.
The bus can't wait in a line, or otherwise the bus would die.
Well, I do get worried about that, but the main reason is we park in group. We learned pretty quickly early on that if it's parked in GARV, we cause issues for our neighbors because everybody wants to come sign it, and we host parties and things like that. So when you come next year, if you haven't seen us, it's parked right at the entrance of the group area. And there's a reason for that. We help run a group. We work with a lot of the other groups. So because we are what would normally be defined as a GARV, but we don't park in that section, they help us through so the volunteers don't get confused and don't know what's going on.
But even years ago, I think it might have been that 2019 year, we literally just had to break in line and be like, "Excuse us, help us!" Oh,
that was purely accidental. Maybe we'll go through that story another day.
Yes. All right, so let's talk about entry into Bonnaroo this year. How was that?
Yeah, I think that was very good from my perspective as well. I know some people had some issues with particular lines at, particular parts of the day, but I personally never had an issue. And we're going to talk about something that skirts the rules just a little bit here. Sometimes you do have a thing or two that maybe technically is on the list of things that you shouldn't bring in, but we all know is harmless. And you just kind of have ways of charming your way through. I never had an issue with that. I won't go into detail, but I personally never had an issue.
Umbrellas.
Umbrellas?
I never knew umbrellas weren't allowed.
Yeah, they took mine one year.
Technically,
I had mine because I couldn't find any sunscreen.
Well, yeah.
And we all know I'm a ginger, for those that don't know. Quite literally allergic to the sun. I walked in and they were like, those aren't allowed. And I was like, I'm sorry. He's like, go ahead. You're fine.
Oh, see, now that's cool.
Okay, cool.
See, that's a good security person. When they know something isn't actually harmful, it's okay to bend the rules. Come on.
I think they're not allowed, just at concerts, quote, in general, because you're going to get in the pit and be like, but
nobody's really going to do that. Yeah, come on now. But I did want to brag on them because I never saw a big line to get in through the Tower Gate or the Arch Gate. In the past, that had been a problem. I know there was a problem at one point in time where it went down for about 15 or 20 minutes.
I think it was on Friday night. Don't quote me, but I believe on Friday night the systems went down. The scanners went down, and it was down for about between 20 and 40 minutes across the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was down. So people did have a wait then. Our friends Ben and Eric were in that line when it actually went down. So don't quote me on the exact time. But it did go down, but they quickly resolved the issue. I mean, they were on it Bonnaroo was on
Yeah.
it like immediately, and they resolved it. They took care of it, and that was an issue that just was unpreventable. I mean, it just went down, system wide. Things like that are going to happen, and you just deal with it and you move on.
Yeah, and that's totally cool. Sometimes that shows that they're very well organized when they
Right,
quickly
exactly,
solve a
exactly,
problem.
exactly.
Brooklyn, what was the longest you ever waited to get in?
Well, I didn't have to wait.
Ever?
Well, Jeremy and Drew both are ADA,
Yeah.
so we went through the ADA entrance,
Okay.
Okay.
which was
That helps.
never backed up.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
But we did sit there and wait for our friends because they had to go through regular for about 20 minutes.
That's not bad.
No.
That's not. No. I mean, you can factor that in when you're going to a show.
Yeah.
All right, another thing I want to talk about is the community support. And those of you that have been going for a while, you probably already know about this. But I really have to brag on people like Corey that does Bonnaroo's marketing and wears many other hats, and Jenna who does the group area for really supporting, like, not just the crazy stuff that we do, but like Camp Red Roo's Beer Exchange, so many other things over the years. And there's other people at Bonnaroo that support things like the parachute people doing their parachute activations. So many different things that come from the community. They will just drop everything to help you out with it. And I can't brag on them enough because I can't think of another festival that does that.
So this is exactly what I was going to talk about. This was actually my number one on list of positive things for this year, is the Bonnaroo marketing team.
Oh, yeah. Corey and his whole team
Their
are fantastic.
fan activations, their fan engagements are just top notch, absolute top notch. And not to be that guy, but I did mention at the beginning of the episode, I have 18 years digital marketing experience. It is more than just doing a social media post. It's more than just putting a Facebook ad out there, putting a Google ad out there. It's engaging with people, person to person, face to face. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I don't think Bonnaroo's doing a good job. There was a Reddit post a while back saying that I don't think Bonnaroo's doing a good job, blah, 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 blah. I did mention this before, but there's so many things that go on behind the scenes that, people just don't realize, and it's just, they're doing an amazing, absolutely amazing job.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And me and Sharla are in kind of the same line of work. I just like to say, I just like playing hype man for my favorite things. But yeah, I got to hand it to Corey and his whole team. They do a fantastic job. And on that front, we have to brag on Brad, the guy that runs the place.
Right.
He's doing a fantastic job as well. Like, I can't imagine what it must be like playing air traffic control for all these things.
Right,
It's
exactly.
insane, All right, so Brooklyn, I think, may have the next one. I think this was a pretty major move for the festival. It kind of happened at the 11th hour, but it worked so well for everybody and everything.
Yeah, so it was just the fast action and ability that they had to take Chapel Roan's performance at Gov Ball, saw the crowd, and they said, oh no, we're not putting her in a tent, we're moving her to Witch Stage.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the best decisions and the most impressive things that I've seen a festival do.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine.
Just that quick work and just shuffle around, because it's not easy to do that.
Right.
And people were like ganging up on Bonnaroo last year when Noah Khan was in the tent. I don't think people understand how hard it actually is to do something like that and to pull it off.
Think about how many things they had to change up to make that happen. Other artists that had to move places or times or whatever. A lot of logistical things behind the scenes.
Right.
That
And
was probably a lot more work than we realized.
not only that, but finding a replacement for Fisher so quickly.
Yeah, that too. I bet they had Chris Lake in their back pocket.
Oh,
but
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Dang it, Fisher's wife.
Yeah, it's kind of like if a festival books Tyler, the Creator, these days, they got to have a backup just in case, because you never know. You wrote another one down there too. I was going to mention this later, but why don't you talk about that?
So, like, the Mr. fans underneath the tent,
Big ass fans.
like,
That's
the
literally the
ones
brand
that are,
name.
like, on the ceiling,
Yeah.
like, I found, like, my favorite set of the week, parcels. It was hot as hell that night. It's 1 a.m. I'm dancing
Yeah.
my ass off. I'm hot. Those Mr. fans underneath that tent
Yeah.
saved my life.
Yeah.
They were amazing. Because, it's you're not getting too wet. It's a nice little cool breeze, if anything.
Mist mode.
And it was great.
Oh yeah, that saved my tail when I went.
don't know. I never paid attention. I don't know if they've had those before, but
They had them when it started getting real hot in 22.
so I remember being
yeah, I think you're
at
right.
Marc Roubier
Mm-hmm.
and being
Yes.
hot as hell. And I don't remember those. And it was at the same tent. I can't remember if that's this or that.
We've
I think
had it
it's
at least 2 years now, I believe.
Here's which, and then right over here is that, right? That's like
Yeah.
closer to the other.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It saved my tail when I went to go see Ethel Cain on Saturday because it was a blazer on Saturday and that was like 4 or 5, something like that.
Yeah.
There's certain spots that you can stand in where that mist just hits you right.
Oh,
You know what I'm
it's
talking
so good.
about?
Right there,
Yeah.
right in front of the ADA.
Yeah.
Perfect.
One other thing that I want to mention while we're talking about that is little things that went into the production that I felt were really nice. I think last year was the first year that they had those drone cameras that they use out at What and Which. That's such a nice touch.
Yeah.
Not only for like the live stream that they put on Hulu, but for those of us in the crowd because they show those cameras on the big screens at What and Which. You can kind of see yourself and your totem and your friends or whatever while it's flying over. It's kind of fun to troll it, maybe flip it off or something while it's flying by, you know. That's so cool. And I noticed that they put lasers on like the big things out in the What field for pretty lights. So I don't know if you looked because everybody was distracted by a million things at that pretty light show on Thursday. But those were shining lasers down on the ground, like doing different effects and stuff. I'd never seen that
yeah.
before.
It was really cool.
I don't know if Bonnaroo did that or if Pretty Lights did that, but either way, it was appreciated.
So I have a couple of things.
Yeah, yeah.
So one thing that really, really, really helped me as a group leader, something that, and I don't know whose idea this was, but Jenna is the group liaison, I guess, for Bonnaroo. She works with the group leaders and she is over the group program at Bonnaroo. So something that group did differently this year is Bonnaroo actually sent out the group hang tags, the car passes, to everyone who got a group pass. Instead of in years past, they would send them to the group leaders, and group leaders would be responsible for sending them out to their people, everyone that had signed up under them. Bonnaroo sent them out this year. 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lordy Jesus, whoever came up with that. Thank you so much.
Everybody else that
Praise
runs a group,
be.
like Red Roo or Squeak Squad or trying to go to bed, everybody else is like, yes, absolutely agree with you.
Absolutely. 10 out of 10. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Oh my goodness. 10, 10, 10. Yes, that was extremely helpful. Such a much needed and wonderful and amazing change. And it worked out so good for us. And just
And everybody in the
absolutely
group,
fantastic. And I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I got a couple other things. Go ahead with y'all.
Well, I was going to say, I think that we were wrong about the 1 and 2 day passes.
Oh, I will own up to that. Absolutely, yes.
Something that I think that it really, really helped with. I think that it helped with crowd control.
It did. I will be honest and admit I was wrong. We were a little skeptical about that when they first announced it because it was a little whiplash because like they at first told the What podcast that wasn't going to happen and it was just a matter of weeks later. It was like, never mind, we're doing that.
Right, exactly.
And I think a lot of us became a little overprotective of the vibes, you know, that magical thing. And it turns out I think we were wrong. I didn't
100%.
I didn't notice anything different at all. Maybe some people looked a little cleaner on Saturday or Sunday, but that was the only main difference.
I think we get the kickback from the 1 and 2 day passes because those people that buy 1 and 2 day passes tend to be very vocal online, asking a lot of questions because they're not the typical year after year after year Bonnaroo attendees. But in actuality, I think that it helped with crowd control.
I
Because
agree.
someone who may have bought a 4-day pass, no, they're going to buy a 2-day pass and just come for the weekend. So that's going to actually help with crowd control.
And this is something that you probably should listen to the What podcast more about because they know the business than we do. But we do know that it really helped in terms of sales this year. So if it keeps the party going, then I think we're all for it.
Exactly. You know? Anything that keeps Bonnaroo going for year after year after year, I'm all about.
Absolutely.
So let's do this.
I got a couple of small things I wanted to mention that we heard about through Twitter. So Johan mentioned on Twitter that some honorable mentions are the bathrooms and showers. I think in a lot of places having like the flushable bathrooms, we won't talk a lot about it because it does get gross, but it helps tremendously. And I think if you used it, you know. And the showers are also much cleaner than they have been in recent years. I never had an experience. I went like 3, maybe 4 times, and I never had a bad experience. It was never clogged up. There was never anything unmentionable in there. I
wish the showers were 24 hours.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I wish they were too. That would help.
Agree.
It kind of sucks when you come back at 3 a.m. and you're all sweaty and grimy.
I was so looking forward to ducking out of that pretty light set early to get a shower just to find that it was closed.
Most likely, they just don't have the staff to manage them.
That's fair.
That's very true. Another one, Cody High Roller, Cody Shanks on Twitter, whatever, said that the cell phone service this year was very good.
Yes.
I think we all realized that as well. There was a couple of times where it got clogged, but I could still send a text if I needed to, if I was going to meet somebody or whatever.
100%. Other years, forget about it.
Yeah. I think they did something to bring in some, portable or temporary towers. I didn't hear from anybody that had, like, bad cell. Well, a couple of people, but it wasn't very frequent.
It wasn't as bad as it's been in years past.
If they want us to rely on the app, then we have to have that, and it worked fairly well. Okay, do either of you have any other big positives that you want to mention? We'll mention just a few things we think they can improve on if we want to. But any other positives?
I mean, I have
Brooklyn?
a lot,
Keep the fountain. The fountain is the only thing that saved me from a heat stroke on Sunday.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to play a little game. I think we all have a handful of constructive criticism, constructive comments that we'd like. Let's pick each our top 2. What do you think? Because I want to keep the good vibes going on.
I only have one.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Sharla, would you like to go with yours first, your constructive critique?
So I really had to think hard about a constructive critique because everything went so well this year, truly and honestly. So, excuse me. So my really big constructive critique for Bonnaroo, I think that there needs to be more ways to connect and find a security personnel in the event of an emergency.
Ah, very good point.
So there was a post that was on Reddit. Someone had their vehicle stolen from their camp.
What? I didn't hear about
their
this.
van stolen.
What?
Yes, they had their van stolen from their camp. They went to guest services. I think it was guest services, don't quote me. They went to guest services, and the guest services, to find a security guard, guest services told them to email info@bonnaroo.com.
What? No, come on now.
When they were at the festival. So I think there just needs to be some type of way to find security when you need them in an emergency. Now, obviously, if there is some life-threatening situation, obviously you call 911. But when you're there, when you're on the grounds, I don't know if they need to install those, you see them on college campuses, those poles where it's got the lights and you
that's
can
a good
push
idea.
the buttons or whatever. But there just needs to be something secure there. I mean, I saw another post, on Reddit that was, I see someone, it wasn't any threat to the festival, but it was, I see someone doing XYZ, what do I do? And I was like, well, you need to find a security person. And they said that they looked high and low for one, and they could not locate a security person.
Wow.
So there needs to be just some type of way to connect with security when you need one. And a lot of times, I think in our society, people, especially younger people, are fearful of calling the police and especially bringing the police into that environment. So I think just having something, maybe the poles, maybe, I don't know what the solution is, but having some type of way to connect with a security personnel if needed.
Well, I think Brooklyn may have a good suggestion.
I have a suggestion, and this is my only critique. Bring back the Mounties.
The horsies.
There you go.
Bring back the Mounties. Live Nation didn't want them there this year, from what I understand.
I don't understand the whole story.
I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was a cost-cutting measure or what.
All I know, because me and my buddy who came to visit me in Straight to L yesterday, we were talking about it, and from his understanding, mind you, this is word by mouth. From his understanding, they even made a petition to bring them back.
Really?
Like, they want to be there.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like, and I don't know about you guys, but every Mountie experience I've ever had has been a positive one.
Oh, they love for you to pet the horsies.
They love for you to, like, you go up, you ask, hey, can I pet your horse? They're like, yes,
what's his
right
name?
here on the neck. They tell you the name, and then they ask you if you're having a good time. They ask you if you're safe. They're never forceful or, like, any, because they're not, you know,
Right. Mm-hmm.
they're not there to ruin your time. They're there to make sure that you have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a video floating around. I hope I can find it. If I can find it, I'll send it to Charlotte to post on the Rubus Twitter of one of the Mounties and their horsies doing a dance to a Tame Impala remix at somebody's camp.
So
it's like 5 years
good.
ago or something. But yes, that's a good point, Brooklyn.
I have a video of the first year that we have the bus, and I'm sitting on top of the bus, and the Mounties come over,
Yeah.
and they're like checking out the bus, and I'm sitting on top, so he's like, let me get one of those markers. So I hand him a marker,
Oh.
and he walks up and he signs the roof because, you know, he's on top of a horse. And he was like, Happy the Roo.
Bonnaroo.
I remember it
That's how you know.
specifically. Bring them back,
Yes,
please.
exactly. We need them back.
We need them back for
I agree,
security
Brooklyn.
reasons. And I watched, I mean, I guess we can talk about this, how, the cops were raiding camps a couple years ago.
yeah.
And the Mounties, like, stepped in.
Mm-hmm.
And
Did
said,
they?
Yeah,
I
they
never heard
stepped
about
in.
that.
And they were like, you can't do this. It's a violation of, yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know what happened for them to go away, but I don't think it's a good idea to not have them,
Right.
considering all this that you guys talked about. Anything else about the horsies, Brooklyn, before I go to mine?
They did. Oh, I was going to say they did find that van. Somebody drove.
Oh, they
it,
did?
Someone drove it across camp and exploded a watermelon in it.
What?
But it was after the guy had already left, like 2 days later. So he had to fly back.
Oh, my
and,
God.
Yeah. But
What
he
the
did
heck?
say that the Manchester police was extremely helpful. So
That's good.
They probably got a kick out of that.
That is,
but he had to pay like a lot of money to get
Oh, that
That
sucks, man.
sucks.
Oh, my
yeah,
gosh.
So
All right, well, I got two. Since we're already talking about security, I'll bring that up first. I heard a lot of stories from people that had very bad experiences with security, and it felt like a lot of the stories happened in the second half of Rue for some reason. There were a lot of people who I trust, who I know wouldn't make this kind of stuff up, who had interactions with security that were just unacceptable from the security side. And I have heard different versions of how this works. Some people have told me that Axis is the main contractor and they have subcontractors. Like Brad, who we spoke about recently, replied on Twitter to clear it up because I was a little wrong about that. I'll fully admit I didn't know all the details. Said that like it's a number of them and some of them operate independently. I don't pretend to understand how it happens. So I'm not going to like say this is any one company's fault. But when something bad happens with one of them, I think it's a bad look for all of them because we can't be expected to know who is who. As far as I remember, there's no kind of identification. You see Axis on the shirt sleeve of some of them. That's all I personally remember. So when I think security, I think Axis. I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm just saying that's the brand that's associated with it when something like this happens. Now, that said, again, I have heard stories from many people who had security people treat them very abusively, verbally abusively, inexcusably so. I don't think it's right that people should go in Bonnaroo and be treated as if they're an inmate at the prison. And I know sometimes they're having a rough day. They camp out, they are working in the heat, but that is no excuse to treat people like dirt at Bonnaroo of all places. There's a lot more I can say, but I think I'll just stop myself because that pretty much says the point. The other thing that I wish could be improved is I thought that concession prices were a little too expensive this year. This was the first year of Bonnaroo where I was like, all right, I kind of feel like your hand is going in my wallet too much around here this year.
$37 for a bowl of lobster mac and cheese.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Oh my God. And listen, I don't want to be like one of those get off my lawn, I remember back in my day kind of guys, but like $10 for a slice of spicy pie, I remember when it was $6.
Yeah.
Not that long ago. It
It
kind
was
of
7
feels
last year. I feel
Yeah.
like.
I feel like it was not 10.
No.
kind of feels like we're being gouged a little bit on the concession process. Not gonna lie, I got a little annoyed by it, and I spent less than I normally would have.
Especially when you can't bring food into Central.
Yeah, exactly. So I hope something can be done about that. I know we're in weird economic times, but I don't know. It just never felt like the case at Bonnaroo before, and it kind of felt like the case this year. So I hope something can be done about that. I know it's a lot of small businesses, and maybe they're facing tough choices, but can't help but feel gouged a little bit.
I will say I spent $27 on chicken tenders.
Jeez.
They did not have ranch for an option.
Oh, no, that's inexcusable.
Just ketchup.
Ew.
But, yeah, and I didn't even get fries. It was just 4 tenders
Yeah.
for $27, no ranch.
Gross.
Just
Yeah. See,
Well,
these prices feel like
Raw dog and a
EDC.
tender is wild
The-
during a rave. Let me tell you.
The beans and rice I got were great on Thursday.
Oh my God.
Oh my god.
We've been derailed. Thank you,
The
Brooklyn.
beans
I'm
and
sorry.
rice I got were great on Thursday. Got them again on Sunday, and the girl put them on there with her hands. So,
Whoa.
well, she put the hush puppies on there with her hands.
See, y'all getting sick from that, not the freaking fountain.
That's very possible.
Figure it out.
But yeah, those are my critiques. I think they need to take a look at how they can better screen or maybe do different companies with security. And yeah, the prices were not good on concessions this year, guys. Let's take a look at that. Other than that, we have nothing but positive things to say.
Yes.
This was a very good Bonnaroo, and that's why I said let's just pick one or two. Why are you riding my leg? Thank you. Because there are so many more positives than negatives. I just want to point those things out because I think those are things that can be easily fixed. They're not like big structural problems. Those are things that can be fixed with a couple of phone calls, honestly. Thank you, Brooklyn. What are we doing here? She's trying to ride all over me. I'm not Post Malone, thank you. She wrote a smiley on my arm.
You're welcome.
All right, you're welcome too. Guys, there is something else that I want to jump into. We did a lot this year through our new Totem Foundation. Sharla and I already gushed about this last week after all of the live stuff, but I want to thank everyone that has donated through the Patreon for this podcast. And yes, thank you, brother. And
Woo!
for those that are new, that have only started to listen recently, we used to do a Patreon to kind of like fund the show and also fund a party, but now we have changed it in the past, 9 months, where 100% of the proceeds go to kind of our nonprofit arm of everything that we do, the Totem Foundation. We started that this past fall to do a couple of things. So we do a mentorship program. So if you're new to the festival, you can get a mentor. If you've been for a long time, you can kind of like be a mentor. We do a scholarship program. We had 3 scholarship recipients this past year who had an amazing time. We expect big things out of them. We expect for them to be leaders of this community in the future. And in a couple of years, we're going to do an international program, and we'll tell you more about that in the future when we're ready to get it going. But we did want to thank everybody who supports us through the Patreon. Brooklyn, would you like to read the names this week since you're
Absolutely.
here? Go for it. We got a couple of new ones, too.
We do.
Can I just
There's
say
a lot of
the-
good ones.
You can say it however
Say the
which way
first
you
name.
want.
Okay.
Go for it.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
All right. David, String Bean, Tyler, Zach and Jeremy, Amber Sharkey, Andrea, JB, Samuel, Austin, James, Chelsea, aka Hygiene Queen.
We love her.
Ryan, Chris, Daniel, Ernst,
We love Ernst.
Harris, Keith, Casey, Amanda, Aaron, Nick, Maddie, McFerg, Bruce, Kent, Randy Z, Eric,
And
Evan,
Ben.
Jay, and Chloe.
Thank you, everyone, so
David
much.
and Aurora, they're new.
Yeah, that's new. I think that just came in the past day or two.
Whoop whoop.
Thank you guys so much. 100% of everything that you donate goes to the Totem Foundation. It does good in our festival community. We hope so. We just started this past year. We're really going to start ramping it up. We have a board call coming up in a couple of weeks.
And really big thanks to Michael Dennis for his donation of $150.
Oh,
Yes!
hell yeah. I just learned about that. Amazing.
Woo!
Thank you. We'll have more to say about Totem next week. We're going to go into kind of like a new phase of things now that Rue is over, but we'll save that for next week. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to jump into our full recap of what all we did over Bonnaroo week.
Yeah!
Hey, welcome back, everyone.
All right, guys, so this is the meat and potatoes of the episode. We're going to kind of, each of us, run through everything that we did and kind of talk about the shows we went to, the misadventures that we got into, perhaps the side quests, whatever you want to talk about.
Side quest.
And we're going to let Brooklyn go first because she has promised to some friends that she's going to go do trivia at Straight to L. We love them. If you come here for South Star, you should go visit them and visit Brooklyn.
Yes,
They're doing
always.
trivia
Come
tonight.
see me.
But Brooklyn, let's talk about what you got up to. First of all, why don't you tell everybody about how we kind of shared custody of you this year? You were in 2 different camps.
So I met my boyfriend at Bonnaroo 2 years ago. We got together last year. So Bonnaroo is one of the only times that I get to see him because he lives in Canada. Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. So I pretty much was going back and forth between Canadian RV section and Rubus,
The monkey bar.
monkey bar. Like it was chaos. I was moving at all times. And that walk wasn't too bad.
From your camp with Camp Canada to the Tower Gate was like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it
'Cause
wasn't too bad if you're hustling.
I would
Like,
come see you on the way.
Now once the rest of RV filled up, then I had to I couldn't cut corners anymore, so I lost that advantage. But it was still great. But for the most part, like, I chilled with Canada folks, and then me and Canada folks came over and chilled with y'all, and then sometimes I would come by myself, and then it was just a whole thing.
So let's start with Tuesday and Wednesday, kind of the pregame days. Do you remember at all what you got into those days?
Tuesday and Wednesday. I know Tuesday we went to see Chase and Status, and I was absolutely plastered.
That was Tuesday? I forgot.
There's a Tuesday.
Yeah. I forgot that I had
No, there's no
drank
Chase
a
and Status
lot.
on there.
Then it was Wednesday.
What was it? Me and JB went by We're in the Woods on Tuesday, and I saw something. I was just impressed with the fact that the UFO floated in the sky.
Yeah, that was Wednesday.
Yeah, that was Wednesday night.
Wednesday night, I was definitely there at We're in the Woods. I ran into Elena.
Oh.
She had like the really cool fan flow thing.
Yeah.
It was really cool. And I think like right after that we crashed hard.
Don't go too hard on a Wednesday of all days.
And then, I didn't really do anything in Outeroo outside of that. I don't think I even revisited
Really?
We're in the Woods after that.
Okay, that's shocking.
Yeah. So, I actually was at Michigander.
Okay, how was that? I missed that.
It was pretty good. No, not Michigander. We missed Michigander. We were at Say Shishi.
Oh.
Because we ran into you guys.
Yes, Sharla and I went for about 20 minutes.
I was with Canadian friends there, and we were sitting in the grass in the shade next to the tree, like a little bit in the back.
Yeah.
And it was funny because as we're sitting there, we're just sitting there enjoying the music, and I look over and like there's like a huge gap of sun, and then there's another shade, like about 50 feet away from me, and it's Skylar. And it's Skylar and gang, and I was like, oh my god, it's them. And then, I didn't want to get up because it was too hot. And so when we walked away, I said, hello.
Yeah.
And then we went to Nation of Language.
How was that? Because I love them and missed that because of Pretty Lights.
Fantastic. I actually thought they were the heavy. Like, for 30 minutes through that set, I was like, this is the heavy? Hell yeah. No.
Listen,
No, it was
I'm not gonna lie, that's
Nation
happened
of
to me.
Language.
Yeah.
And they were fantastic. And then we caught the dead end of the heavy. After that, I left Drew and the Canadians behind, and I met up with JB and my friend Mario, and we went to It's Murph.
You're going to really bum me out by telling me how awesome that was.
It was my third favorite show of the weekend.
Man.
You went to It's Murph with JB right there?
Yeah.
No, you didn't. He's with us at Pretty
No,
Lights.
he tipped out. I remember.
Oh.
JB was at It's Murph with me. He's the one that filmed my little video.
I remember JB leaving Pretty
That
Lights.
is when I spent $27 on and raw dogged some tenders.
Because that's when I got the quote about JB at Pretty Lights. That's
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So it's funny because I was going to stay for Disco Lines after It's Murph, but halfway through It's Murph, I was like, you know what? No. Everybody that I know is going to be at the second part of Pretty Light.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on my way to the wet stage, and I get a text message from Drew saying, hey, I'm at It's Murph, catching the end of it. Let me know where you're at so we can meet up. And I was like, are you kidding me? So I tell JB and Mario, just go on without me. Go without
I never
me.
heard this story.
I will be behind. So I stay behind, and Mario and JB left.
Yeah.
And then I waited for Drew. And then later on, JB was like, yeah, we lost your friend, Mario. We lost him. And I was like, oh, he belongs to Bonnaroo now.
Bonnaroo has him now.
It happens, So after that, we got to Pretty Lights, and I'm really glad I made that decision to skip Disco Lines to see the second set of Pretty Lights. It was pretty fun. I enjoyed it.
The Thursday show, to me, was better than the Sunrise show. But
Yeah, I
I
agree. I agree with that.
Agreed.
And then right after that, we went to Chris Lake and stayed the whole time during Chris Lake. I think we, I think on the way, we stopped by Neil Francis. I did see, I don't know how we did it, But we went from Pretty Lights, Neil Francis, then caught the tail end of Chris Lake.
Good grief.
Yeah.
You had a walkabout that night.
Yeah,
I got one to
we
talk
sure
about
did.
later.
And then,
All right, let's go to Friday. Tell us about the shows you hit up on Friday.
Oh God, I don't even remember.
maybe we're gonna skip this day.
Oh, I was at Gary Clark Jr.
Oh
Yeah. Oh, I have a funny story about being at Gary Clark Jr. Actually.
Spill.
So it's me and the entirety of the Canadian crew,
Yeah.
and like all of them. And Amanda, Jason Hand's girlfriend,
Yeah.
she was laying down, relaxing right in front of me, and we're standing like at the witch stage, right next to a tree. So a squirrel decided to jump right out of that tree, landed on her exposed belly.
What?
And did like a little and then yeeted on away. And like her head is literally at my feet. Like she's laying down directly in front of me. Drew's on this side, Adrienne's on this side, Jason's over here. And I was just like in shock, like for the first like 10 seconds. I was like,
did this really just happen?
Did that just happen? Was that an actual squirrel? What in the world? And then I looked down at her, and she's got like these little tiny hairline scratches.
Oh.
Made sure she was fine. She was fine. I was like, girl, you need to go get your rabies shot.
Rabies.
Yeah.
She was fine. Everything was fine. But then every show we went to after, except for Sunday,
Yeah.
we started seeing this totem. And it was of Scrat from Ice Age.
I saw that.
And it had the red glowing eyes, and it said, "Get nutty." So it just became this huge,
That was that
hilarious
squirrel.
inside joke between all of us.
Oh my god! I'm glad we're doing this because I haven't heard these. stories.
Yes, yeah, it was.
That's wild.
What that squirrel do?
But that's
No, it became like a huge inside joke between all of us. It was so funny. But yeah, after Gary Clark Jr., I believe we ended up at Group Love for a minute, and then we hit Shy FX.
Ooh, I wish I could have been at that one.
Shy FX was fun, and then I think after Shy, we went straight to I at least went straight to Krungbin.
Okay, how did you like it?
Amazing.
Oh my god!
It was everything that I ever wished it would be.
Our stories cross over at this point because I'll go ahead and talk about this for a moment. Andrew and I made the decision to skip Group Love and get in the Krungbin pit. We were on the rail, front and center. It was one of the most mind-blowing hours of my life. I couldn't believe it.
Wasn't Jums there too?
Jums was there. Brendan was there right behind us. We were joking with them for like a half hour before the show. Brooklyn, me and you had been listening to them a lot. I hope that show was as good for you back there.
It was so good.
Oh my god!
I've listened to so much Krungbin that I like had to stop listening to Krungbin because I can only listen to it live now.
You listened to them so much on my Spotify account that was all of the For You or whatever on Spotify for a while there, and I was okay with it. That was great.
But yeah, after Krungbin, we hit up Interpol. I saw them at Shaky Knees, so it was about the same. Really, really good stuff. And then I think we stayed for No, we went to Post Malone because I cried my eyes out when he brought out.
You were there.
Billy.
I was with you.
Yeah, when he brought out Billy Strings, I was screaming. And then we went to Mars Volta, and then I can't remember if I saw Thundercat or not, but I don't think that I did. I was just too exhausted.
Oh, I got a story, but I'm going to save it for my part with that night. So let's go to
You go
Saturday.
anywhere?
Nope.
I think she was mostly going to shows, were you?
Yep, mostly shows.
All
We
right.
have shows in the outer room.
Well, she knows that. All right, let's hit up what happened for you on Saturday.
Okay, Saturday. That was... Oh, man.
Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. I remember the night. The morning was crazy. I think the first show that I saw that day was Neil Francis. Because I made
EDM
it...
Neil
Yeah,
Francis.
we went to Neil Francis because I made it a thing. I saw both Neil Francises.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to catch John Batiste, but
Batiste?
Batiste. However,
Batiste.
I like calling him Batiste.
Batuesday.
But after that, after Neil Francis, I wanted to stay for Casablanca, but I went to that tent to see Gregory Alan Isikoff, met up with JB again and Ernst, and it was wonderful. I got this candy that I'm wearing right now.
What does it say?
Gay.
Oh,
It says Gregory Alan
G-A-I, gay.
Oh, so, wait, you
Gregory Alan
saw
Isikoff.
Gregory Alan Isikoff?
Yes.
Do you regret your decision at all?
No.
Okay, I didn't think
not at all. And then I went straight from there to the Dashboard Confessional Emo Super Jam.
Okay, I heard many great things. How did you enjoy that Super Jam?
I absolutely loved it. He brought out the Beaches to sing Paramore songs.
Oh.
Me and Thomas were losing it.
Well, we'll get to yours.
Oh.
You're going to, yeah. I want to hear about it from you also, clearly.
And then after that...
Did you go to Cage? I guess
No.
you didn't if you was at the Super Jam.
Nope. I think we caught the tail end of Cigarettes After Sex and then straight to Red Hot Chili Peppers. And then...
Oh, boy, here we go. She's going to spill about her
right
favorite.
after Chili Peppers... I start grooving to Parcels.
Now,
and my group, they were walking so slow. I'm sorry, Jeremy. I'm sorry, Drew, but y'all were walking so slow. I had to get to Parcels. So I started hearing, they had to, like, fill up on water. And I was like,
bye.
And Adrian was like, oh, I see them. And I was like, I need to be there now because they had already started. I was like, I need to be there now. And then we run up, and then we immediately find Max and Emma and everybody. And I just fucking lose it because we walked up to the perfect song. We danced a little bit, and then they started playing Games of Luck, which is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And, oh, it was so good. And then one of my friends went off and came back with a random ice cream cone and handed it to me. And I was just... greatest moment ever.
Now, I'm hearing about the party. Tell me about the band. Why was it such a bop for you?
So, Parcels is really fun. They're very similar to Jungle.
I can see that comparison.
But they're more like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. They're more like, not, I wouldn't say electronic, but...
They mimic that sound a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a full band, and like, they do more jammy stuff live.
Yeah.
So like, they'll drag out a song for like 5-10 minutes.
I love that.
And then, like, their light production is insane, too. And for it being at 1 a.m., and, you know, it was my most anticipated. I know at previous episodes I said that Gregory Allen Is a Call for Casablanca was my top. I started listening to Parcels right after that, and I got absolutely hooked on Parcels. They are just good vibes, dancey vibes, and, like, just... Oh, I love them so much.
I'm so sorry. I know we covered it. Did you see Ethel Cain or not?
I did not.
Oh, I'll talk about that.
I did not see Ethel Cain.
I did. I definitely did.
I think I was asleep during Ethel Cain.
Oh, you messed up. Did you? Okay. Did you go? Did I see you at the Pretty Light Sunrise set? I feel like I did. I feel like I did.
You sure did because we went. Oh God, we went to Diplo.
Oh.
Well, I mean that was like after Parcels. After Parcels,
there wasn't
got
anything
done,
to do but Diplo for a little bit.
We went to.
I know.
The Diddler.
You're like, Diplo.
We went to Diplo the Diddler.
Okay.
Found our spot, you know, right behind the ADA. And it was such a good feeling because I was exhausted from Parcels. I was dead. And, like, just seeing everybody of my friends from Rubus and Canada Crew all coming in
and Red
one
Roo.
by one. Radaroo, everybody.
Calliope.
Calliope.
Yeah.
No, Cowl.
Calliope.
Calliope. Yeah.
Calliope. And just everybody.
Batiste!
Stop.
Wait, can I intervene with one thing about one extra thing that made that night so perfect? Friends of the show, Zach and Sage, who were on the show for our lineup episode months ago and have become some of my favorite people in the world, got engaged on the Ferris wheel right before the Pretty Light Sunrise set started.
And it was...
And it kind of became their engagement party, and it was perfect for that.
I cried so hard.
Yeah, I was so happy for them both. That just made my night. They gave me so much energy. I made it to sunrise. Yeah.
Two of our Totem
I did not.
scholarship winners, our scholarship recipients, Anthony and Ariel, made it for their first Bonnaroo
They
Sunrise.
for Pretty Lights. It was beautiful.
They were awesome.
It was
Can we
beautiful.
just pause for a second and talk about how wonderful the scholarship Totem people were?
I know. They killed it.
All three of them. I loved them so much.
It makes me so happy that they get it and have such a future ahead of them now.
Yes. So Sunday was a very fun day for me.
Tell
me
us
and
about
Thomas became best friends. Nobody else in the group was like ready to go out and adventure in the sun, and I was actually going to stay behind too.
Yeah.
And then I see Thomas getting putting on his Hello Kitty pink shirt, his pink unicorn shorts. Mind you, he's a straight man.
Yeah.
Getting ready for Chapel Roan, and I look at him and I'm like,
pink pony.
You know what? Because he was hitting beaches first.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Those are two sets that I actually did want to see. So for the very first time in Bonnaroo history, it feels like I braved midday sun at Bonnaroo.
Oh, that was a rough day for that too.
For the beaches and second favorite show of the weekend.
Were you in the shade in the tent when the Beaches played? Did
yeah,
that help?
and that mister was hitting hard.
Good.
It was so good. Beaches killed it. I love them so much. That big thing's coming to them, hopefully.
I hope so.
They were so cool. Like, there was a bunch of Canadian flags, like, going around. I think they're, like, either from Toronto or Montreal.
Are they?
I can't remember.
They have beaches in Canada?
But, like, they shouted out, I see a lot of Canadians here. I almost said... Canada ads.
Canada ads. Hey, we are recording this on Canada Day, July the 1st.
Happy Canada Day.
Oh, Canada. All right.
Those who celebrate. And then right after that, obviously, Chapel Roan. But first, we hit the fountain. And oh my God, it was so good. Hitting that fountain and then being completely drenched for Chapel Roan. Like, it was a vibe. And then we left Bonnaroo. And... was getting ready, like, put on new clothes and everything.
Did you leave when the storm hit?
Everybody had left, and I had to run back to the bus to, like, get some new clothes, so I changed for the day. And I was going to meet them at Fortet.
Yeah.
Because I really wanted to see Fortet, and they had already been to Fortet. As I was going in, that's right when they, like, said, like, were... kicking people out, not letting people in the gates because of the storm.
Well, it wasn't that bad, but they didn't know that it wasn't going to get that bad.
You can never tell.
This time of year in the South, you don't know
what's going to happen. But I was so bummed because I missed all of Fortet.
I'm sorry.
I didn't get to see Fortet. But shortly after, we all met back up at the entrance, and they were letting people back in, so we made it for Goth Babe. And that's when I got my pierogies from Pierogi Posse. I was like, I made that my Sunday must. I have to get pierogies from Pierogi Posse because I'm obsessed with pierogies. And they were so good. They were the best pierogies I've ever had in my life. I'm just sitting here during Goth Babe, like, with my pierogi, just
you were waving it like a totem
up in the air, like do 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 do. It was such a good vibe. And then after Goth Babe...
Did you go to Megan?
Oh, no, I didn't.
You messed up.
I went straight to Taking Back Sunday.
Oh, you didn't mess up. That was a good show.
It was a very good show.
I saw them at another show a couple of years ago. They are fantastic.
Yep, stayed at Taking Back Sunday and then made our way to the What Stage for Fred again.
How did you feel about the Fred show? And there's a really loud bird here. I apologize.
Absolutely loved it, and from what I could tell, everyone in the group loved it as well.
Oh, I'm going to have a lot to say here in a little bit.
It was so good.
Well, Brooklyn, I know you got to get to trivia to go see our friend Pickle Nick and the rest of the Straight to L crew. Anything else you want to say about your whole experience to kind of wrap it up?
Just thanks for staying the same, Bonnaroo.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's the same but different. It evolves a little bit every year, but it's always
always that same.
It's the same at the core.
Good feeling.
Yeah. Well, Berlin, I'm so glad you had a good time. I did not have an issue splitting custody with you this year. I know you had a good time over there too.
Yeah.
But we appreciated you bartending at the Monkey Bar with Dave and the crew
it was
and everybody.
So fun.
Yeah. It's what they say? Tell Penny Lane it's not the same without her. Bonnaroo ain't the same without Brooklyn there.
Oh, stop it.
But guys, we'll have Brooklyn on again real soon. I want to get you on more these days.
Okay.
I've gotten requests from Twitter, Reddit, like, hey, have Brooklyn on. But it's tough because she's working evenings a lot these days. Yeah.
Gotta make that money.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't gotta gas me up like that though.
No, I fully intend to. I told you, I'm hype man for my favorite things, and that includes my favorite people, whether it be you or the Totem Crew or anybody. For right now, you're sitting here. And you got to go in a minute, so I'm hopping you up. I love you to death.
I love you guys. I love y'all. I love Bonnaroo.
All right. Me and Sharla will be back after the break to tell you about our experiences We'll see you next week, Brooke.
Yeah.
Love you.
Love you. Woo!
Okay, big thanks to Brooklyn.
Yeah, we kind of moved things around so she could be here tonight. Brooklyn has been core to our crew. We wasn't just gassing her up. We really mean it. So I want to make sure that she was on this big recap episode. I don't think we got her on that much for the live episode because she was always out and about or like bartending at the Monkey Bar or something like that. So I want to make sure that we got her in. And she always has crazy things that happen to her. I did not know about that squirrel story.
No, that was wild.
That was ridiculous.
Can you imagine just a squirrel falling out of the sky on you?
I do remember that squirrel totem, like the Ice Age
Yes.
squirrel all over the place. By the way, can we point out some of our favorite totems that we saw real quick? One that comes to mind immediately is the giant kangaroo with a dick. I saw that thing everywhere.
Everywhere
I looked. Also, I want to also gas up some of the Roo crowd because every year the totem technology gets better and better.
Yeah.
Like I'm seeing so many cool things made with like new types of LED and like all kind of like wook engineering all over the place, and I love it. I will always be an ardent supporter of totems. Partially because that's the name of our nonprofit. But I just love totems.
I don't have any favorite totems, but I got a couple of favorite flags that I saw on people's campsites.
Do we got to talk about JB's real quick?
Well, I was going to talk just...
Well, go through yours.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I was walking around, and right before you go into We're in the Woods, someone had Bratz, like the Bratz logo, but it was rats.
Rats. Yeah.
No, that's so funny to me.
Yeah.
Someone in our camp had the Jersey Shore people in the Last Supper.
I did not see that.
Yeah.
Well, I always love the ones with Kevin Parker as Jesus holding like inner speaker or currents or something like that.
Talk about JB's flag.
Yeah, so our friend JB had a flag that many of you have probably already seen because he was on the rail at T-Pain.
Oh, yeah. JB.
JB
He went viral.
JB went viral as the mayor of the T-Pain pit because he had this thing that it was a Google search. It was like, what is T-Pain's full name? And it said, do you mean Tylenol pain relief? And apparently T-Pain saw that and pointed it out to his DJ, and then he posted it on his Instagram thing as his favorite of the night.
It was in USA Today.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's ridiculous.
But the funny thing about it is, if y'all know JB, he's a pretty straight cut guy.
Yeah.
So he was taking...
It looks like he's taking a vape.
Well, he was taking a drink of his water, his Camelback, whatever, his water thing.
Yeah.
And he was going like that at the time. So...
He also went kind of sort of viral for like wearing that white pimp suit to Guar and getting all bloodied up at that show.
Well, he was taking a thing of his hydro bag. Whatever.
He was like, Mom, I promise it's a drink.
Yeah. And he was like that. But then he went kind of sort of viral because he was in the like rail for Guar too.
Yeah.
Wearing like a pimp suit.
Oh my gosh. All right, Sharla, you said I should probably go through
Yeah, you should go. You should go next.
All right, so let's talk about Tuesday and Wednesday combined because those were kind of like the same kind of pregame days. So Tuesday we roll in. It's all about, seeing so many people that we hadn't seen in so many months and getting camp set up, getting the Monkey Bar rolling, make sure that the bus is nice for people to come visit us and everything. Did all that. Me and JB, that we were just talking about, did a whole loop around the campgrounds. We went and checked out Where in the Woods. I think we got a snack. Talked to a couple of people we hadn't seen in a while. That was fun. Wednesday, again, I got to brag on Andrew and Maddie. They're throwing an absolute banger of a Wednesday party. We passed that on to them, and they did a fantastic job. I'm sure you know by now, Jason from Cherub came out and DJ'd for us. It's so wild to me that like one of our favorite musicians is a good friend that we could just hang out with every once in a while.
Right.
I still can't believe my life. Anyway, that was fantastic. After that, you and I went out for like Bonnaroo date night that Wednesday. We're outside and somebody's got some fireworks going. I love it. I'm going to keep this in. I love this kind of thing. America. Or actually, it's Canada Day. So yeah.
Oh, it is Canada Day.
Yay, Canada. That night, you and I did Bonnaroo date night. We went and got something to eat. I think we stuck our head in Where in the Woods for a little bit. And we went to Boot Scootin' Boogie Nights at Galactic Giddy Up, and man, was that a yeehaw. Corey and his band are just fantastic. I got to really brag on them, too. Like, they killed it that night. They tackle each of those songs in a very authentic way, but still kind of true to the way that they do it. And it was a party in there. It's funny how much those kind of songs hit you right into the nostalgia. I feel like all of us that are like elder millennials kind of knew all of those, so it was such a sing-along in there. Was it good at their Who stage show? I missed that one.
It was fantastic.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Which one would you say was better?
They were both good.
They were both good?
Yeah.
It's hard to rank them?
Yeah.
All right, so that was fun. I was kind of conserving my energy because I knew it was going to get wild for the rest of the weekend. So let's talk about everything in Bonnaroo. So Thursday, I was all in on Pretty Lights. I knew I was going to be there the entire time. I think I stopped by about a half hour worth of the Say She. Then I went and visited the guys from the What over at Camp Nut Butter for a little bit. And by the way, let's talk about a funny little story. So I go backstage, and by the way, we did have one media pass that we kind of shared this year. That was kind of so we could do a couple of little things for the podcast and other things.
It was for our totem recipients.
Yeah, really for them, so we can kind of give them the whole like industry experience. But I borrowed it that one time for a half hour to go back there, and I texted Barry. I'm like, "Hey, where you guys at? I'm gonna come hang for a little bit." And he's like, "Oh, well, hey, come to the media tent over here. They're doing an interview right now." I'm like, "Okay." So I walk in there, and it's basically like, "Hey, what's going on? You want to meet Guar?" I'm like, what kind of question is that? Of course I do. They're up there in their intergalactic space pirate costumes or whatever it is. And me and Taco go up there and get our picture with them, and they're in character the whole time. Oh. Russ is like, "Oh, hey, cool, I'm going to use this as my Tinder photo." And one of them was like, "Oh, man, you're going to get laid now." It was amazing.
Apparently they were walking around.
Yeah.
Just in the crowd, in character.
Can I nominate Gwar as mayor of Bonnaroo
yes.
for this year?
Yes, you may.
Because they are one of those bands that kind of got it. They were everywhere doing everything. Mm-hmm. And they were also doing it in those ridiculous suits and staying in character the whole time. Mm-hmm. Like, those guys get it. They were involved in everything. And I love it when bands do that, especially when it's one like them where there's all that crazy stuff going on. Anyway, I hung out with them at Nut Butter for a while. Came back. You and I saw Sid Sharam for a little bit, which was kind of weird because that show started like 15 minutes late because of technical issues. But that was really cool. After that, I kind of...
wasn't there, but...
Were you not? I could have swore you were there. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, it was a long week. Anyways, after that, I kind of wandered around. You were, I remember. I wandered around for a little while, and we met our crew and got to our good spot for Pretty Lights. Stayed the entire time. It was mind-blowing. I have come to love that band, and they are a band now, so much. It combines so much of what I love. It's psychedelic, it's jam band, it's EDM, it's giant spectacle. It was a giant party. I get why our buddy Zach from Boston is so in love with them and follows them around like a deadhead or whatever, because every time you see them, it's something different. It's a different kind of party. It's a big roller coaster. It took like 20 minutes to get through that Willie Nelson remix and really get going. But man, once it did, it was so fun. There was a Jolene remix. I don't know if you were there for that. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm, I was there.
It was so fun. It was everything I wanted it to be and then some. I love them. I'm already dreaming about having them back at Bonnaroo. I want them back at the Caverns. Any chance I get where they're close, I'm going to go see them again. They are now one of my favorite bands ever. I'm in love with it. I love it so much. After that, I went to Neil Francis, the 70s time traveler, Neil Francis, for a little bit, for about 20 minutes. That was a blast. Everything about that was like you've time traveled. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. It was amazing. I was there for a good bit of that. I took a power nap, and then I was there for the first 15 or 20 minutes for Gwar.
You took a power nap at night?
I did, yeah.
Oh.
I woke up right when Gwar started because I hear everybody chanting, Gwar, 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 Gwar. And, like, I get up and I come over there fairly close. I can see JB from a distance. And there's this guy, like, pretending to be a DJ. And they come out, like, kill that guy. And they, like, chop his head off. And, like, the blood is everywhere.
Oh, goodness.
By the way, they didn't really kill. For anybody that didn't
know.
Yeah, they didn't really murder a guy. They would be in the Manchester County Jail by now.
Coffee County.
Coffee County Jail by now. All right. So after that, I conserved my energy. I didn't stay for all of Gore. I was like, all right, I got a long week ahead. Let's go get to bed. Hung out at the Monkey Bar for a while and went to sleep. Next day, on Friday, I believe I went in like fairly late because I was like just having a good time cutting up with everybody. I went in with Andrew, and my intention was to go to Group Love. That didn't happen. Partially because he talked me out of it, partially because I saw how the crowd was going, and I realized I had a good opportunity to go get in the pit for Krungman. Oh my goodness, am I glad I got in the pit for Krungman. We got there at exactly the right time. Andrew and I were front and center. That was almost a spiritual experience. Seeing like one of my newfound favorite bands over the past couple of years just absolutely rip just 15 feet in front of my face was amazing. And like just seeing like their kind of impromptu choreography where they're like walking back and forth and kind of doing like this kind of chill dance while they're playing. Oh my goodness, was it so fun. And I had such a fun time with like Jums and Brendan before then too. We were kind of joking around with a lot of things. And I'm going to put this eloquently. We were totally sober. and we were still acting so ridiculous because we were having such a good time at that show. Or at least I was anyway. I can't speak for them.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's Ty for Airplane.
Yeah, I know. We all know that. All right. After that, I did a bit of my...
Soul searching?
Well, a little bit. I did a bit of my Bonnaroo sampler. So as soon as Krungbin was over, I was like, oh, hey, I'm going to run over here. I'm feeling great. That was a great show. I got so much energy. Let's go see J-Rad, guys. Brendan goes with me over to J-Rad. Josh Wenzel was over there. I didn't get to run into him, but like I got good signals. So I was like just glowing over the J-Rad show over Discord with him. It was like, oh my God, are you here right now? This is amazing. Was there for about a half hour. I'm leaving because I want to come to our spot that we have for our meetup spot to go see Post Malone. And right when I'm leaving, I see Taco. I'm like, hey man, what are you doing? You want to come with us to go see Post Malone? He's like, yeah, I will. So we all go together, wander our way through the crowd. We come to our spot over there with Red Roo and all of our crew to come see Post Malone. Just absolute blast. He left a little early because he wanted to get a good spot for Mars Volta. That was his number one. I didn't blame him. Post Malone was fantastic. We talked about that last week. Blew me away. He's not exactly one of my favorite musicians, but oh my goodness, was that a headliner set. Like, the violin intro, the fireworks, just everything being over the top, him being kind of like more of a party leader than a headliner at sometimes, was so fun. Dude knows how to throw a party. It was perfect for Rue. Everybody loved that. The fireworks were top notch. After he was over, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go see Thundercat. I only stayed for about 25 minutes of Thundercat because he played some good stuff I liked. And I was like, you know what? I know there's some really good stuff happening. I heard that T-Pain party happening behind me. I wanted to see Mars Volta because I knew that was important to Taco. So I did one of my patented walkabout nights. I had jumped around to everything. I went from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. I got a good sampling of all three of those things between Thundercat, T-Pain, and Mars Volta. I had the time of my life. I love doing that at late night, just going from one thing to another. I do have regrets that I didn't see all of Thundercat. I didn't see his Tame Impala song. I wish I could have seen more of Mars Volta because that was really cool. I wish I could have been there for more of the bangers that T-Pain had because I couldn't get super close for that because I was doing, a sample of everything. But I don't regret it at all. I had the best time doing all that. That is the reason I come back to this thing year after year after year for nights like that. It was so fun. I had the time of my life. All right, I could go on about that all night. Let's go to Saturday. I think I came in relatively late that day too. The first thing that I believe I saw, the first thing I saw was Ethel Cain because that was important to me because it was important to Ben and Eric.
Right, exactly.
Mostly Ben. I got there a little late, so I didn't get on the rail with them. That was a packed show. That was a very June Pride show, if you know what I'm talking about. And I loved it for everybody there. It was soul affirming for so many people.
We don't have to speak in code.
Well, yeah, I mean everybody knows what I'm talking about. I'm speaking in shorthand because I'm trying to get through all this. Ethel Cain was amazing. What a voice, what an emotional show that was for so many people. I loved it so much. I'm a huge fan now. I get it. Oh my goodness, I could just go on about that all day. Next up, I went and stopped by our homegirl Brittany Howard for a little bit. Literally used to be our neighbor just a few miles away, so I'm like, I can't not go see this. She killed it. Already saw her full show in New York back in February.
She worked at the prison.
She worked at the prison, yeah, not far from us, yeah. That was amazing. It was kind of the same set list that I saw in New York back in February, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get a good spot for John Batiste.
Like a mile that way.
Yeah. The John Batiste show. Let's talk about that for a moment. That man is perfect for Bonnaroo. He's got that New Orleans flavor like Bonnaroo used to have with Snake and Jake's and the parades and everything. He is so positive. He's always smiling. You never see that man not smiling. It's such fun music. It felt like going to church. Everybody was dancing and carry on. It was perfect. I'm almost coming to tears about how perfect it was. Mitchell loved it. Mitchell was there. He's back there dancing like he's on the New Orleans parade. Everything about that was perfect. It was a perfect Bonnaroo moment, and I wish I could relive it. After that, Cage the Elephant. Man, you talk about a perfect modern rock band. Everything they were doing was just slaying the crowd. They have a history at Bonnaroo. They were amazing. They just laid lace to the whole what field. That is always a good time. After that, Red Hot Chili Peppers. I've seen him before, but now I'm seeing him with John Frusciante, however you say his last name. That just destroyed. It's hard to say if I like this show or the last one better, but with John, it was so good. Being that close to Flea and seeing him dance and cut up was a lot of fun. Just having a rock and roll Hall of Fame band right in front of you, playing all their hits. at the best stage in the world. Like, nothing tops that. It was freaking amazing. After that, I was in for it all night. I did not have the experience that Brooklyn had at Partials because I kind of sort of a nap, like way in the back. I was there for it. I heard it. I understand why she loved it. I wish I had the energy to go see more of it. But I took a nap towards the end of that and got my energy going for the Pretty Light Sunrise set. Literally 10 minutes before that set started, I found out that Zach and Sage had just gotten engaged on the Ferris wheel. So I was a little tired. I didn't know if I was going to make it. And that filled me with so much joy. I made it the rest of the night. Like Brooklyn said, all of our friends was there. Again, perfect. Seeing the sun come up with all my friends. You didn't think I was going to make it. I made it. I made it. I loved it. It was one of the most gorgeous nights of my life. And I loved it for everybody. It was like, you know, our Totem Scholarship recipients were there. Zach and Sage was there. It was their engagement party. The Calliope girls were there. So Kevin was there. So many people were there to experience like one of my new favorite bands and see the sun coming up. It's heaven. In Field of Dreams, where he's like, "Oh, is this heaven?" He's like, "No, this is Iowa." And somebody's like, "Is this heaven?" No, it's Bonnaroo. Like that night was just perfect. All right, Sunday. I knew my limitations. I was out of energy, so I had to kind of conserve a little bit. I knew I needed some woman power because that was the day, that was Ladies' Day at Bonnaroo. I really wanted to do Carly Rae, but I was tired. I didn't know if I was going to make it in that heat. The storm happened. I was like, all right, I got to see something. I went all in. I went to go see the party that is Chapel Roan. I was like, I have to see this for myself. Like, she is blowing up. She's going to be doing, like, arenas before too long. She might be playing football stadiums before too long. I have to see this. I knew that was going to be an important Bonnaroo moment. I have laid my eyes and my ears on Chapel Roan, and I am here to tell you the hype is real. She threw such a party, even though it was blazing hot, and it was so fun. I saw how much positivity everybody was getting out of that. It was amazing. I came back, got a shower, went to Goth Babe, partying in the pit. That is also one of my favorite bands. That was such a good time. His music is just perfect for me. And also, I got to get a shout out to M. Jeezy, who saved my tail because I was almost dehydrated. And she got my energy going and helped me get a drink and catch up with friends and everything. And me and her hung out for like 45 minutes during the golden hour. I had a fantastic time with her. Also, I got a new Bonnaroo tradition. Mitchell bought me a lemonade. And he was like, I was like, oh, hey, let me get you something. He's like, no, just pass it on to the next person. So I bought her a lemonade. So that's a new Bonnaroo tradition. It's like buy somebody a drink and pass it on.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
So I don't know if Mitchell started that, but it does sound like something Mitchell would have started.
That's
so
really cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
So Goth Babe was fantastic. I went over with MGZ while Megan Thee Stallion was going. I met up with Andrew and JB who happened to be there. And oh my goodness, you ever seen 50,000 people throw ass all at once?
No.
That was a party. Like I posted a clip of JB throwing it at that show. Yeah, that was fun. Lastly, Fred again. How blessed am I that I get to see my favorite indie band in Goth Babe, the woman of the moment in Chapel Roan, and pretty much the greatest DJ on the planet right now, all in one day. Fred again was amazing. We got there right in front of the sound booth, right under that little scissor lift where he was doing that kind of like DJ throwdown. It became the club down there. Me and Fred had like a moment where he was like spinning his hand around and I was like spinning Ricky around and he was like looking at me and laughing. I loved it. I had the best time. And he played We Lost Dancing and did kind of like an extended intro. And that song saved my butt 2 years ago during the pandemic. Cool. Yet again, another perfect day. 2 perfect days at Bonnaroo in a row. I will love this place until the day I die. There's so much magic there. This year just re-energized me with the people, the music, the place, just everything falling into place in such a perfect way. I love this place. Bury me there. I love it so much. Okay, yeah, top that. Well, how'd your week go?
Oh my goodness, that one's going to be hard to top. That one's going to be a little bit hard to top.
All right, where do you want to start?
I don't know. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, I'm going to have to go use the potty.
All right, well, on that note, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. All right, we're back after Sharla's current side quest. So now we're going to finally go through your recap of everything that happened for you, which I want to kind of start this out by saying that after the 2 pregame days, me and you kind of split. You went on your own adventure, and we've been married for almost 20 years, so we're totally cool with that.
We like different types of music.
That's totally cool. That's fine for Bonnaroo because there's a little bit of everything for everybody there.
So I found myself Tuesday just kind of setting up camp and meeting the people in our camp and hanging out with them and getting to know them a little bit better. Because definitely didn't have time to do that last year.
Oh, by the way, can I say something real quick? So Barry said on the What podcast that this Bonnaroo was his Hug and Howdy tour. I didn't call it that, but it was kind of that for me too, because first and foremost this year, I wanted to spend good time with people.
Yes.
And I think mostly I accomplished that. I spent good quality time with people, and that's one reason I had such a fantastic Bonnaroo. I didn't really point that out in mine. Since you said that, I wanted to say that real quick. Our group was
a perfect size this year. Everything about our group was absolutely so perfect this year.
Yeah.
Could not have asked for a better group. 1,000%.
Oh, could not agree possibly more. We had so many good people, so many good friends. New friends, better time with old friends. It was just amazing. It was like summer camp for all of us big kids.
Yes.
It was so soul-filling.
100%. Oh, could not thank them enough.
Yeah.
So Tuesday was just my, let's hang around camp. Let's get camp set up. Let's help Dave with the monkey bar.
Yeah.
Let's help everyone get their canopies up. Let's get everyone in. Let's get everyone parked. Let's get it ready to go. Let's get ready to do this for the next week.
Yep.
And then Wednesday, we did the Wednesday party. And again, cannot thank Maddie and Andrew enough for all of their excellent hard work on that Wednesday party. There was some excellent, great bands that we had out. We had Wanda out, and you guys really have to listen to Wanda. I mean, she is just absolutely incredible. My favorite Wanda song is Virginia is for Lovers, so check that out.
I like the reggae song.
We also had our Totem Purple Carpet event, and that went so well. We had so many people come out in costume for that to walk the Totem Purple Carpet.
Nick, the Devil of Bonnaroo, was there. Rebecca showed up as Miss Piggy. She had a little Kermit. We had Bowie was there.
Yes.
Shayna showed up with her crew.
Shayna was there. She brought her nephew out. It was his first Bonnaroo. Johnny Blaze, her brother, was there.
Yeah.
Trent Birdsong came out. He was the Beetlejuice. So just tons and tons and tons of people came out for that. Just such a wonderful turnout for the Totem Purple Carpet. And we did have multiple people that actually donated to Totem.
Yes, thank you so much.
They donated in cash, and they donated via the QR code that we had. So thank you guys so much for that. And just everyone that came out to that Wednesday event, and just Maddie and Andrew, the hard work that they put into that. So just thank you everyone for that. Absolutely.
Also, I want to tell you guys what a sweet guy Jason from Cherub is. So many people came up to hang with him after he was done DJing. He signed literally everything. He took pictures with literally everybody. He is a Bonnaroo OG. We love him to death. We were kind of waiting there because we were going to hook him up with some water and everything over there in the Rebus, let him chill out in the AC over there. And he sat there for like 45 minutes with everybody and hung out with us for like 2 hours because that's what he wanted. He wants to hang out with everybody at Bonnaroo.
He's such a cool guy. Totally forgot about that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Secret group headliner.
All right, anyways,
later on that night, Daniel and I went to Boot Scootin' Boogie Nights. And Boot Scootin' Boogie Nights is a 90s country cover band. Oh my goodness, Daniel kept harassing me the whole time. Chattahoochee, oh Chattahoochee.
Way down yonder.
And I'm like, Daniel, drop it. They're not going to play Chattahoochee.
First thing.
It's like, oh my God. Let it go. With the Chattahoochee. Anyways, but they played so many good 90s throwbacks. They played so many songs, and everybody was singing along, bopping, having a good time, until they got to Creole Williams, lived down the dirt road, played homemade wine like nobody I know.
Yeah.
I was the only person that knew that song.
Really?
Yes. David Lee Murphy.
Okay.
I was the only person that knew that song.
Dust on the Bottle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you know it now, but I was the only person that knew
That's
that
a
song.
good one.
And the guy, not Corey, but the other guy he was the singer for that song. And he just glared over there at me because I was the only person singing. And I'm like, I thought everybody knew the song.
They killed it, man.
Yes,
that was a great show.
Killed it. Oh my gosh. One of my favorite, fun shows of the whole weekend. So anyways, I'll fast forward to Thursday. So let's do Thursday, Centeroo, because that's when Centeroo opens, of course.
Yeah, I don't know how to go for it. Go for it.
All right, so I'll just go ahead and go for it. So went in Thursday to see Say She She. I stayed for about half of Say She She. They were really, really good. They were different than what they sound like recorded. Their live set was really different.
Still slapped.
Yeah, it still slapped. It wasn't the same as it sounded, recorded to me, but they were still fantastic. The White Pod has a fantastic interview with Say She She.
Oh yeah, I'll listen to that today.
Go check that out. They have it up right now, I think.
It will probably be up by the time you listen
Okay,
to this.
by the time you listen to this, I think it's coming out this week. So they have a really, really, really good interview with Say She She. So good. So you'll have to go check that out. And then the next thing, I saw Sid Sriram.
Yeah, you remember
Daniel.
now.
Yeah, I remember. And then I think I don't know if I went back to the camp or whatever, but the next band I saw was Pretty Lights. And we actually went over to the Wattfield and waited on our group. And I've never really got to experience, even though we've had a group camp, quote unquote, for a couple of years now, I've never really got to experience Bonnaroo like that with a big group. And doing that, it just...
Yeah.
It puts Bonnaroo into a whole new perspective. And it's just such a cool
party, man.
experience. And it really is a party.
It's the greatest party on earth.
You're doing Bonnaroo. You can come to Bonnaroo and do it with a couple people. And that's fun. That's fine. You can come to Bonnaroo with, 3 or 4 people. That's cool. You're having a great time. You can meet people. That's cool. But when you do Bonnaroo with 70 people, it's a party. And it's so much fun. Like, we had probably, we had 70-ish people in our group this year, and probably, I would say, a good 30 of us or so were at that Pretty Lights show.
Oh, I had been hyping it up. I wanted people to come with me, yeah.
And it was so much fun. We met and we walked over there, and we got so many pictures of us just walking over there, and it was like the gang goes to Pretty Lights and all that stuff, and it's just so much flipping fun.
Now, I want to know what you thought about the band, the Pretty Lights band. How did you like that?
See, again, I focus on the community aspect.
I know, but I still want to know what you thought of that.
I did like the Thursday show better.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a full band on Thursday. It was just like, I think Derek is his name, and like 1 or 2 other guys for the sunrise
I stayed
set.
for about half of it, and it was really, really good. I understand why people love Pretty Lights.
Yeah.
Definitely. I understand why people love Pretty Lights.
If they play the Caverns again, will you go with me?
Depends on what
We'll figure it out if and when it happens.
Yeah.
Anyways.
It was really, really good, definitely. I wanted to go to Neil Francis's Francis Comes Alive, but I had downloaded this schedule off the internet that someone had made, and the time was cut off.
Oh.
Because someone turned around, I think it was Sarah in our group, turned around and she said, "Hey, do you know when Neil Francis plays?" And I said, because it was cut off on hers, and I said, "Actually, it's cut off on mine too. I guess we downloaded the same schedule."
Oops.
Yeah, so I did not end up going to that. I think I ended up going that night. I think I went to the silent disco for a minute.
Did you really?
I think that's the night I went to the silent disco. And I went, and I was in there for, honestly, probably about a good 45 minutes maybe. Maybe like 30, 45 minutes.
I never even touched that this year.
And, the silent disco this year, it was one of these, don't quote me on this, but I think it was one of these, like, just entertainment party companies. And, it was where they have the 3 guys or whatever. And
I played one of those once.
yeah, you played those
Yeah.
before, but I wasn't that impressed by the quality of the DJs because they were very much like wedding style party style DJs.
Corey and Brad, if you're listening, just book Catlow to play that next
Right.
year. Yeah.
Because normally, one is doing hits, one is doing like dance music, and one is doing like Latin music or something like that. And I felt like they were all doing just basic radio hits. Like it was just, there wasn't really much of a variety between them. And like, I felt like if there had been more variety, like at least one do like some house music or something.
What if next year they did a silent disco with campground DJs? Like Vinyl, Catlow, like whoever,
Mm-hmm.
That'd be fun. All right, we'll save that for
Have
another
like
day.
different nights or whatever.
We'll save that conversation for another
or like
day.
sign up or something. I don't know the solution, but we'll save that for another time. So let's do Friday. Friday, did I do anything in Outeroo Friday? I don't remember.
Did you go to the Pride Parade? Because I did not. It was too hot.
That was Saturday.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start with Friday. So 49 Winchester at 2 p.m. on Friday. one of the best shows of the whole weekend. Absolutely
Wow.
slapped. Oh my goodness, they could not have been better. Like, absolutely. They have been one of my top picks, the entire time. And I really, really, really got into 49 Winchester. This whole time, I really did a deep dive into the lineup this year, and 49 Winchester was one of my top picks, and they just keep releasing songs, and they are so fantastically good. They're from like Virginia, West Virginia somewhere, and just an amazing band, amazing country alternative artist, or country indie artist, I should say, and just so good. Please check them out if you haven't already, and if you like country music, check out 49 Winchester. You will love them, absolutely. So after that, I wanted to go see Mdu Mokhtar, but I did not. I think I was...
Oh, I didn't talk about that. Can I interject there? Because I totally forgot.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, I skipped that when I was going, because I went to Mdu Mokhtar early that day. That was one of my top 3 shows of the whole weekend. That was freaking mind-blowing. Oh my God, did they rip. It affected me on a spiritual level, because like not only did they just absolutely shred through so many good psychedelic songs, but knowing their story made it so much better. I was in tears just
Really?
knowing that they came through so much. They went from like just trading SD cards in Africa to playing Bonnaroo stage and just absolutely owning the crowd. It was amazing. I don't know what to say about that. I want to see them again so bad. That show just grabbed me so much. Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't want to steal this. What were you saying?
Go ahead. Talk about the trading SD cards. Talk about that for a second.
Well, I kind of know their story, like from another
It doesn't
perspective.
have to be their story, but just talk about it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It hit me because I seen something similar to that when I went to Haiti with an NGO about 6-7 years ago. There's musical groups down there that do the same thing, that they're making music in somebody's bedroom. They're using what tech they have, and they still have so much talent, and they have so much passion, and they do what they can just by like trading like USB drives and things like that to share their music. So seeing a band that had come from that in North Africa and had such a story, and they have so much to say, and just absolutely just shred like that, it was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. I was crying. I was so happy to see that in front of me like that. All right, anyway, that's all I can say.
That's wonderful, Daniel. So go to the Outeroo schedule for a second there on Friday.
So we're looking for Outeroo on
Friday.
Friday. Yes. Did we ever find out what Rutu
the
was?
beer exchange. We skipped. That's where I was. Earlier that morning, we did the beer exchange.
Yeah.
Which never skipped the beer exchange.
Never skip a Sunday show. Never skip the beer exchange.
It's so good. I mean, it's such a great community event that Bonnaroo has organized. It's just one of those things that's just become such an annual tradition of Bonnaroo. Go to it. I mean, it's just such a fun event.
And by the way, big props to Common John for stepping in and continuing through the tradition. And big thanks to Kevin from Bonnaroo for keeping that tradition going, too. It's a lot of work. He does such a great job.
Yeah, he does a really, really, really good job on that.
He's going to be on the What podcast talking about that in a couple of weeks.
And they had it organized really well this year, and he does a great job hosting that. It's such a good event.
Yeah. All right, so let's go back to Outeroo Friday.
Go to
Centeroo Friday.
Starts like Inneroo.
We're a little beside ourselves at this point. We're more than an hour in. All right, go for it.
I think after 49 Winchester, because it was starting to get so hot, I think I went to get food, or I went to go back to the camp. I don't know. Some time is missing. So the next set that I remember seeing, Crow Boys on the Who stage.
Yeah.
Y'all, Crow Boys, one of my top shows of the entire weekend.
Now, why's that?
So, it was their story. Like Mdu Mokhtar.
Oh, okay.
It was their story. So, I had listened to them like a little bit, and I knew one song, but it was their story. They're from New Orleans. They grew up and they told all this. They grew up in a traveling musical family.
Yeah.
So they would travel around playing music growing up. And it was their entire family. And it was 2 brothers. It's 2 brothers. When they were young kids, the mom passed away.
Yeah.
And then it became just them, the 2 brothers, and their dad.
Yeah.
And just hearing them tell that story the way that they told it, and just seeing the emotion and the enthusiasm that they had to be there playing Bonnaroo, it just resonated
Man.
much with me. I couldn't get over it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they may not have been the most talented act on the farm, but they were probably the most emotional act on the farm.
I understand.
Like, just, oh my goodness, they really blew me away. They've got some really good music too. Again, if you like that indie country type of music, go check them out. Crow Boys. It's Crowe Boys. Crow Boys. Check them out. And then
I know you were there for Post Malone.
Yeah, I went straight from that to Posty. Met up with the group. I think I've seen all of Posty.
Yeah, you were there with me the whole time.
Posty
I remember.
was great. You know, we talked in our last episode about how much healthier he looked.
He looked so happy.
Yeah, he looked great. I mean, he really looked
Did
really,
you see
really good.
those photos that got shared after the fact of him coming down to the pit and like people were giving him Magic the Gathering cards and candy and things? He looked so happy to be there.
No, I did not see that. Oh my goodness.
What'd you do late night that night?
Well, clearly I missed the greatest show of all time, T-Pain.
T-Pain.
I don't know. I think I walked past T-Pain and I was like, oh, cool. And then I must have went to bed.
Really? Oh, you messed up. The
I
whole
don't
thing,
know what I did.
Somebody uploaded the whole thing of that
Yeah.
T-Pain show to YouTube. Just, y'all, go watch that. That's going to go down as one of the biggest parties in Bonnaroo history.
Right?
That was awesome.
I should have went.
Actually, let's get JB on to tell his
Let's
whole
just get
story.
JB on,
All right,
yeah.
we're going to do that in the upcoming. JB, I know you're listening. We're going to get you on here in a couple of weeks to talk about
Oh
your
my
whole T-Pain
gosh.
experience.
I don't know where I was.
Well, that night is lost to town. Let's go.
Go to
lost
Outer
to time.
Saturday.
Outeroo on Saturday?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Did you go back out?
No. All right. So I had plans forever to go to the Pride Parade.
Yes, but it was too damn hot.
I bought a Pride Parade outfit
Yeah?
and I wore it. It had long sleeves.
Yeah? Oh, I remember that.
Y'all know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Do y'all think that happened? No,
No.
because it was at noon on Saturday. Like, that's just wrong.
Oh, I want to give both. I want to blow smoke to Bonnaroo, and I want to give them some constructive critique when it comes to the Pride Parade.
Okay.
House of Yes desperately needs a bigger venue. It is always too crowded in there, and you always have to awkwardly stand outside and like peer over somebody's shoulder to see what's going
You gotta
on.
get there early.
It's very popular. I think they need a bigger barn
And
or
now,
something.
I will say, it has grown and it has expanded so much and gotten so popular. I agree. I do
Yeah.
think they need a bigger
I
venue.
mean, it's a good problem to
They
have.
need a bigger barn.
But I also want to give them props for moving the after party to where in the woods so
Yeah,
everybody could be in the shade.
agreed,
that was a clutch move.
Agreed.
But y'all, yeah, I think it's time we move House of Yes to somewhere where it can hold more people, because unless you get there an hour ahead of something, you're probably not going to get in, because again, it's a good problem to have that so many people want to be there, during Pride Month and support all this crazy fun stuff that's happening over there, but it needs to be able to hold more people.
We tried to go to Dirty Circus on Wednesday before
Yeah.
Boot Scoot and Boogie.
It was just
and
too packed.
Couldn't get in.
Yeah.
But I do know, I think it was Josh that went there. I think Josh Wenzel, maybe,
Yeah.
don't quote me. I think he went there, and he said he had to get there like an hour or two early.
Yeah,
you
they
know?
desperately need a bigger spot.
So I did not actually go participate in this event, but I saw it from my campsite, the Paige Pierce disc golf.
Oh,
It's in group camp.
yeah, because Corey came by and needed a hand
Well,
with
she
that.
came over there to get her.
Oh, I
yeah.
missed that.
Yeah,
I
she was
wanted
there.
one of those
She was at
discs.
our camp.
Okay, I wanted one of those discs so bad I didn't get that.
You literally could have got one.
I was
right
so
there.
busy. I got distracted, I guess.
You're in the bus.
Well, whatever. I'll
yeah,
get one later.
but yes, and she's such an amazing, amazing, amazing person. I'm not a disc golf player, but that's a big sport here in Huntsville that we have.
Yeah.
There's disc golf things all over Huntsville.
Shout out to Will Corey, an OG Bonnaroovian that has done photos for a year. He's big in that whole world.
Really?
With disc golf, yeah.
Yeah, disc golf is really big here in Huntsville. And, I saw that from my camp, and she is really, really nice, really sweet person. She came by and, talked to a few people in our camp.
So, when you go to,
really
more
nice.
than 3 fish shows, do they just automatically supply you with, all the disc golf stuff that you need?
I don't know. Is that a thing with
or
fish
if you,
people?
Or if
I
you
don't
go,
know.
if you, hang out with Tame Impala's crew. I'm sorry, I'm being dumb.
Oh,
All right.
Tame Impala. Oh, okay.
All right, where we going, Charles?
If you
You can go to Centeroo
Getting with
Saturday?
your grandma to
Yeah,
say, you
yeah,
meet
yeah.
Jason and-
Yeah.
All right. Saturday, I went in to see. I actually walked in. Let me back up. I walked in with Chloe and JB to see. JB was going to David, and me and Chloe were going to Josiah and the Bonnevilles. Now, Josiah and the Bonnevilles overlapped with the Maine, and both of those were some of my biggest shows of the whole week.
Yeah.
And I picked Josiah and the Bonnevilles over the Maine. And even though I really, really, really like the Maine, but
You
Josiah and
recorded
the
a clip
Bonnevilles-
for the live episode with her going to that show.
Yeah,
I remember.
we were walking in, yeah. And I watched about half of Josiah, which it's one guy. I watched about half of Josiah, and
Do you know it's just one guy?
I won't say it was disappointing, but it was very draggy,
Like slow.
very slow.
Okay.
And he told his whole story about being on American Idol, and it was kind of like, yeah, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's in my personal opinion. Don't at me, don't hate me. I just thought it was a little slow. It just wasn't what I expected. But, I think I was trying, maybe in my head, I was trying to compare him too much to Shane Smith and the Saints, which is a similar band.
Yeah, I've heard Chloe hot them up before.
Yes, which is a similar band. And I have to think Josiah, I don't think he necessarily has the oomph type of songs. So, I don't know, it just felt a little slow to me. I stayed for about half of it, and then I went to the porta potties. And I was in the porta potties for about 5 minutes or so, and then I decided to go get something to eat, and I went to the food stalls, and I think I got I'm pretty sure, I got a corn dog, and then I sat there and I listened to the rest of the Maine. I couldn't really see the Maine from where I was sitting because a food stall was in front of me.
You were watching a band called The Maine. Sorry.
So I saw the Maine, and I also really wanted to see Tanner Ussery.
I like that guy. I actually stopped by that for 5
Really?
minutes. Because, I saw the end of that while I was waiting to see Ethel Kane. That was cool.
Oh, well, I really wanted to see Tanner Ussery. I'm going to go with Ussery.
Sure, why not?
I really wanted to see him, but unfortunately I did not get to see him.
Well, one of us did. I saw 5 minutes of the end. It was great.
And I did hear a little bit of the Teskey brothers. I did not get to see Brittany Howard or John Batiste as I would have wanted to, because I met up with a lot of people in our group, and we all went to Sean Paul and danced our booties off. Where we were standing, it was quite funny. We could not even see Sean Paul. We were like behind the sound booth or whatever.
Oh.
But we still stood there and danced and danced and danced. And I really, honestly don't even know, like, that many Sean Paul songs. But being with your group, just being with the people that, you consider, not just your friends, but your family.
Yeah.
Just that experience and just having that party experience and just dancing and dancing and dancing and just having so much fun. That's almost more important than seeing, some show that I was like, on the fence about seeing. So whatever, I was like, it's whatever. I would rather hang out with these people because I only get to see them once a year.
Exactly. I understand that completely.
Mm-hmm. So I just kind of was like, I'm just not even going to look at the schedule for a minute. I'm just going to hang out with my friends that I only see once a year that come here from all over the country, all over the world even. So we danced our booties off. And then we actually stayed. Actually, no, I went to a little bit, just a tiny bit of Renee Rapp.
You texted me. You drunkenly texted me from Renee. Yes, you did. I can go back and I can see the receipts on this. You drunkenly texted me during Renee Rapp.
What'd I say?
I don't remember, but it was something.
Something good? Okay.
Because I remember, like at that point, when you were at that, it was between John Batiste and Cage the Elephant. And I walked to the back of the Whatfield to go get something to eat. And I could hear her in the distance. And you texted me. And I was like, I don't even remember. I'm going to have to go back and check the text. If there's nothing incriminating in those texts, we should post that on Twitter to go along with this little discussion.
Well, anyways.
I'm looking right now.
I saw a little bit of Renee Rapp. And then I went to the Dashboard Confessional Emo Super Jam.
Yeah?
I went there with Chloe.
Chloe had an amazing time there, didn't she? I've heard about that.
It was Chloe and Lisa, I'm pretty sure. And please don't hate me if I forget.
It's okay. It's okay. It sounds like you
What if
weren't
it was?
of.
No, it was Chloe and Christy.
It sounds like you weren't of complete sound mind.
Chloe and Christy.
Yes.
Chloe and Christy. Yes, we went to the Dashboard Confessional Emo Super Jam. And I was there for about half of that. And I do feel like the second half was better than the first half because as soon as I walked away to go to the bathroom,
Yeah.
I started hearing the good songs. I heard Fall Out Boy. As soon as I walked away, I heard going down, down, and I was like,
I really wanted to hear that Thursday song, but whatever. You have to make choices. And by the way, I think that whole text was on Snapchat, so it's lost forever now.
you know what? You know the reason that I walked away?
Why?
Because I went back to Boot Scootin' Boogie Nights.
No, I knew about this.
Yes, that's what I went back to Boot Scootin' Boogie Nights because I also played the Who stage. Yes.
All right.
So I went to Boot Scootin' Boogie Nights.
Was it the same set or different songs?
So it was the same songs, but they didn't play them in the same order.
Oh, well, that's okay.
Yeah. I think they might have played one other song that wasn't in there.
All right.
Their other thing.
All right, Charles, let's power through.
I'm going.
Yeah.
But I have to get through this. And then I went to Chili Peppers. Because, obviously.
Well, that was fun, yeah.
Yeah, and I got just packed in there like, I don't know how I found y'all. Because I remember going all the way around to the Bees.
Because we have a spot where we all meet
I went
up.
all the way around to the Bees. And then even Evan Bonnaroo turns around and goes, how did you get up here? Like, Sharla, how did you get up here? And I was like, oh.
After you go so many years, you just kind of know how to weave your way through a
Yeah.
crowd.
Oh, yeah,
It's just instinctual at this point.
Yeah, I just do that in real life now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I went to Chili Peppers, and I was there for most of Chili Peppers,
Yeah?
and then I went back to the camp.
Yeah, I remember
And
you dipped
then-
out, but I stayed.
No, I went back to the camp, and then I went back in for Pretty Lights. I went
Yeah.
back in with Sam and two of our Totem Scholarship recipients for Pretty Lights. And then I was there till sunrise. And then I went during Pretty Lights. I hung out with a bunch of people, and then I went to the bathrooms in Centraroo. And I was in the bathrooms for about 10 minutes. And then I came back out. And I thought, when I came out of the bathrooms, now here's what's funny. You don't know this story.
What?
When I came out of the bathrooms, out of Centraroo, those permanent bathrooms, I thought the sun had not gone down. It was the sun coming up. And that's when I lost my JB hat.
Yeah, that's when I lost you. I knew you weren't coming back, so I was like, well, I'll just see her at the bus, whatever. So that's what happened. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, this might be a discussion for us to have when we're not recording, because you were on something that
No, I was not on anything. I was not on anything.
You were on a hype train, what it sounds like.
I was on a hype train,
Yeah.
but I was not on anything.
Well, that's
Thank
what I
you
was
very
talking.
much.
No, well, that's not what I was
I saw
talking.
Mitchell. I ran into Mitchell at Boat Scootin' Boogie Nights, and also ran into Taco at Boat Scootin'
Can
Boogie
I
Nights.
talk about something that I forgot to talk about earlier? I know this is a marathon episode, but there was this weird thing that kept happening at Bonnaroo this year. You would talk about somebody, and then they would
They
appear.
would show up.
It actually happened. If you go back and listen to the live episode from last week, we were talking about Chloe because she's Bonnaroovian of the Year. And no more than 5 seconds passed, and somebody's like, hey guys, I have a visitor for you. And it's Chloe. That was just one example. That happened dozens of times. Like, I would just be in Cinderu thinking like, hey, I need to see Mitchell. Something funny happened. I want to tell him about, or I've got something for him. And then there he would be. Like, it happened with JB. It happened with Andrew. It happened with so many people. It was crazy. Anyways, continue. Let's talk about your Sunday.
Okay. Sunday was really, really, really good, except I overdid it Saturday. And that's my fault, and that's on me. Because I was determined to make that pretty light sunrise set.
It was amazing.
So therefore, I did not make Molly Grace.
Oh.
And that is my upset of the whole week. And I need to give Molly Grace herself an apology for missing her show because we did connect on TikTok beforehand.
Oh.
And I've seen clips of that show. Phenomenal. Like, oh my goodness. If you guys love Chapel, if you guys like Chapel, you will fall in love with Molly Grace. I cannot recommend Molly Grace enough. Check out the grocery store song. It slaps.
Okay.
It says something like, I'm a snack in Whole Foods looking cute in Kroger. It's just, oh my goodness. I put that song with a photo of Evan the other day. But just check out Molly Grace. Please, please, please. And I also missed, and this was I also missed Lily Fitz, and I really wanted to see Lily Fitz because she has degrees in, like, don't quote me, but something like molecular biology and nuclear something. I don't know. She's got 2 STEM science degrees, and I'm talking like 2 STEM hard degrees. Support women in STEM.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. Support women in STEM. And I only missed her because the rain, like, messed everything up at that point in time. But anyways, so I went in around the time that Chapel was playing. I didn't see Chapel, but I wasn't really like, I'm not as on the Chapel hype train as everyone else is. So I actually went in for Charles Wesley Godwin. And I saw him. I got railed for Charles Wesley Godwin. So good.
Really? I didn't know that.
Hardwood floors. Oh! So Charles Wesley Godwin, he was ending when the rain happened. He had like 1, maybe 2 lines left in his last chorus. So he was on his very last song, like his encore song. And he's like, oh, we're going to do a Take Me Home Country Roads, because he's from like Virginia, West Virginia, whatever. And they had already like cut the music, cut the mic, cut everything. So he's like, oh, we're just going to do a sing-along. And like he was down to like the final chorus, and the guy tapped him on the shoulder.
Yeah, that's rude.
And I'm like,
come on.
Come on.
Like, yes, there's a possibility of a storm, but give the guy 15 seconds?
Oh, he would have needed like 10 seconds. I mean, like,
that's messed
but
up.
on the other hand, I've never seen a slide keyboard guy zoom out of there so fast. Like, I've never seen a slide keyboard guy just be like, yoink. Like, he yoinked it out of there. Like,
maybe he saw something we didn't.
he like must run track or something with the slide keyboard.
Now that I remember this, there was visible lightning like to the north, so he probably saw that.
He must have seen it.
Yeah, I remember seeing that from camp.
Well, he took his slide keyboard and went somewhere.
Like, that memory only just now came back to me. There actually was lightning that you can see, because I went back to camp about the time that you would have been there, and I took a shower, and right when I came out, like, I saw it off in the distance, like, towards Murfreesboro. Anyway, continue.
So I went from there to Ashnico, one of my top sets. Ashnico. Holy crap. The thing that made Ashnico good, and I was there with Evan and Skylar, and the thing that really, really made Ashnico so good, her crowd interactions. That's what makes a Bonnaroo show, to me, in my opinion. It's that crowd interaction. And
well, what was she doing?
So she was making fun of the rain. She's like, oh, I used to live in England, and just interacting with the crowd. Just like making little jokes, and she was so good. She just had that interaction with the crowd. It's kind of like, this is weird comparison, but you remember when Paul McCartney got up there and told story. I mean, story time with Ashnico over here. Like, I mean, I just could not get over, like, just the way she talked to the crowd and her stage presence.
Yeah.
Like, couldn't get over it. Like, just so good. And the crazy thing is I had read or heard somewhere that her live performances weren't good, but whoever said that, like, yeah, right. And so after Ashnico, my plan was to go see Wolves of Glendale. So I walked over to Wolves of Glendale, and I was like, oh, it's not very crowded at all. I can get right on up here. And I thought about getting rail, but I was like, no, I'm just going to hang back. It's getting kind of late. So I just sat there, and I was like, wow, looked at my watch. I was like, wow, they're running late. I was like, wow, they're running even later. 10 minutes go by, 5 minutes, like 20 minutes. Like, it keeps going, And by this time, they're like a lot late. And eventually, long story short, I realized I was at the wrong tent.
Oh no.
So, because they don't put the tent names inside the tent anymore.
Yeah, why did that ever go away in the first place?
I don't know, but they really need to bring that back.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, just a tiny little sign, like up there somewhere, because, I set it the wrong tent. So anyways, long story short, I went to Jason Isbell instead. And I think I made the right choice because Jason Isbell has my heart.
Oh.
Yes, absolutely. Top show of the weekend, Jason Isbell. And then I went to see a little bit of Fred again.
How'd you like Fred again?
Oh, he was great.
That was such a party.
Yeah, it was a party.
Yeah. Well, wow. Okay, we have gone through all 3 of our adventures, misadventures, side quests. We are 2 hours in. I knew this was going to be a jam-packed, supersized episode, and that's totally okay.
I think we should do a part 1 and part 2.
Nah. We'll put it out all at once. Okay. We got more coming in the future. We got a lot of plans for the next month or so. There will come a point where we will start going bi-weekly. It may be in a month. It may be 2.
Nah, I don't see it.
Maybe. We'll see. If things slow down. I mean, it's going to be a while before we come to regular season.
You can go bi-weekly.
Well, she says she's not. We'll see what happens. That was originally what I was thinking, but we can probably come up with enough interviews and everything. It is our intent to get Brad and Corey from the festival back on. I know they've been busy wrapping up and doing some other festivals. We've put the request in to have them on to just kind of have a wrap-up conversation. We're going to have JB on. I want to hear the whole story about the pit at T-Pain and everything. We'll have some of the other people from our group on. If you have a great story from Rue 24 that you would like to share,
please, by all means, hit us up.
Hit us up.
TheRealRueBus@gmail.com.
And Sharla watches the inbox for Instagram and Twitter pretty frequently.
We are The Real Rue Bus on every social media out there.
Yeah. So hit us up. If you've got a funny story that you want to share, we want to hear it. That's kind of the purpose of this podcast. So.
And if you want to talk Bonnaroo all year round, get on our Discord. Our Discord is linked in all of our social media.
Yeah, we'd love to have you there too. Like literally, we're talking about anything and everything there all day.
All the time.
But it's usually Bonnaroo based. If you're talking with somebody there, they're Ruvian, so you know.
More than 300 hardcore Bonnaroovians.
Yeah, seriously. Well, guys, this was a marathon episode this week. Thank you to Brooklyn for coming down before she had to go run and hang out with her coworkers. Thank you to everybody.
Yes.
I mentioned this last week. This was one of our favorite Rues ever, and the main reason was the people. Whether you were camped with us, whether you're one of our Patreons, whether you're just somebody that we hung out at some random time. I've mentioned this in the past. It's not the grounds. It's not the trademark. It's not the event. It's the people. We are Bonnaroo. And guys, you made this one of the best ever. And like I said last week, I really think that next year, I got a feeling in 2025, it is going to be the best Bonnaroo ever. And we're going to make it that together, just like I said. So guys, get out there and radiate positivity. We'll see you next week.
Bye.